This morning, as you can tell by the lack of mainstream media in front of us today, no one wants to talk about what's happening in this country, in particular the mainstream media. But it is happening, and we have a few members of Congress who are going to speak this morning, and we have a few women who've been affected by boys, biological males, and girls' sports. And with it being Women's Sports Week, we know the importance of bringing this issue to light in any medium that we can. And I want to first off thank my colleagues who agree with us on this issue. And I want to thank especially the young women who you're going to hear from this morning to actually have the courage to speak up and speak out and share their very personal stories about how their achievements have been robbed by biological men, how they've been forced to change in locker rooms and shower with biological men. And as the first woman to graduate from the Citadel Military College of South Carolina, a long time ago, I know something about what it's like to break glass ceilings. I know something about what it's like when women are put in vulnerable positions, and we don't ever want to see. I can't even imagine if they told me that if it was a biological male who had a skirt on, they could too achieve what I had achieved in college, and that's just wrong. It took South Carolina 100 years since women got the right to vote to finally get a woman, biological woman, Republican woman, up here in Congress. And I did that 3 years ago in 2020. And we don't want to have women's achievements stripped away by biological men. We shouldn't force them into these positions. And I'm not going to let my teenage daughter, I'm doing this for her, I'm doing this for all the girls in the country. But my daughter recently turned 14 a few weeks ago. And I took her shopping like any mom or dad would on their daughter's 14th birthday. And we went to a young teenage girl's store for tweens and teens. And she went to the dressing room. And it was a biological male. I don't know if he was underage or over 18. I don't know. Dressed as a woman, putting my underage girl into a fitting room and all the other underage girls in the fitting rooms. And to see the look on these kids' faces as they were walking out, be forced in that situation. Thank God, as a mom, that I was there and could protect her. But this is not something that we should be forcing young girls, underage girls, and women into, and it's wrong. And we're seeing it. The left wants to tell you that it's not happening. Well, the young women here today, they are going to share their stories because it is happening. And I want to thank them again for their courage this morning to speak up, the confidence that you have today to share your stories because America needs to hear it. The first member we're going to hear from this morning will be Representative Burgess Owens. You're up, sir.
Burge. Thank you, first of all, for being here. And as Nancy was saying, we don't have enough coverage on this kind of topics. I just want to say this. I grew up in a generation where my dad, like many others, went to war. It's a remarkable generation. It's a generation that this conversation would never, ever happen. Because these are the young men, 18, 19 years old, that stormed police like Normandy. They did it because they loved our country. But more importantly, there's a little subset because they wanted respect of women. They wanted to know that they can actually protect, provide, partner with the parties and raise some remarkable families. And here we are today, we're talking about a whole different process, something we cannot allow to happen. It's sad to see when we have men, fathers, who have to look to their daughters to find out what courage looks like. When we get to that point, we have a system that's in bad shape. We have to stand up for what's right, friends. We have to stand up for our country is based on basic culture and basic concepts, and one is respect of women, and that's been a process we've been going through for quite a while. I am so proud to be part of a conference that, number one, understands this. We're going to stand up for women and what they stand for. And I'll say this to these politicians out there, particularly those that grew up in my generation, those between 40, 50, 60. You should be ashamed of yourself for not standing up, for thinking that your career, your income, your power is more important than your daughters, the women across this country, and just the basic culture of our nation. We're gonna win this because American people are realizing this is a bridge too far. So I just can't say enough about the ladies that stand behind me, the women across this country that have the courage to fight for what is right. And this is going to be a thing across the country. We're going to stand together for. We're going to win this. So I look forward to being part of this, and excited about being again part of this remarkable, courageous group of young ladies that are actually standing before you today. So with that,
thank you, Burgess. What an honor it is to be in our nation's capital to talk about a subject that I never thought it would be impossible to have to defend and talk about. And as Burgess said, we ought to have 435 members out here. 435 members that should be here talking about the insanity of what's going on in sports. When I first heard Riley talk, I guess it was 6 months ago, I thought to myself, when you looked at her face and you looked at her explain what she went through, I said, what courage that has taken her to be able to voice her opinion on something that's we never thought we would have to do. Secondly, where's the media? All the media outlets should be here. I can tell you, if we had a transgender group that got together, it'd be full of the cameras, and they're not here. But that's fine. As Burgess says, we're going to win this fight because we're going to use our voice to explain how wrong this is. And folks, this is biblical. God made man and a woman. And I was telling people earlier, I had a conversation with one on the other side that believes in transgenders and competing in all sports. And I said, tell me about it. Do you have to have surgery to identify as a woman? If I was wanting to identify as a woman, will I have to have surgery? And he said, no. I said, how does that work? And he said, well, that's just your thoughts, your feelings. And I said, well, let me ask you this. If Mike Tyson wants to identify as a female, you going to put him in the ring with another female? He said, that's not fair. I said, what's not fair about it? And he said, well, Mike, this was strange. He said, Mike Tyson's muscular. And I almost said then, and I said, that doesn't make sense to me. A lot of people aren't muscular that you're talking about, being able to identify competing with women's sports. But that's the thought process. That's why we've got to get our voice back. We cannot be silent on this. For the safety of our girls, for just the fact that they're having to go through this is not fair. And Riley, when she was talking about Leah Thomas changing in the women's dressing room, you know how unfair that is. And so I'm honored to be here. We've just started this. We're going to go all over this country telling the truth. And I just want to thank those of you who are out here. Let the media not show up. We're going to use our voices to help them say what needs to be said. So thank y'all for coming, and Mary Miller.
I'm proud to join my colleagues in Congress and so many brave young female athletes in recognizing this week as National Women's Sports Week. This is a time to come together and celebrate the achievements of women in sports and highlight the importance of keeping our daughters safe. As a mother of 5 daughters and 8 granddaughters, I'm horrified by the left-wing extremists who are forcing men into girls' locker rooms and ignoring our daughters' requests for safety and for privacy. On his first day in office, President Biden signed executive orders to destroy Title IX and force young girls to share locker rooms with biological men. This is such a betrayal from liberals who claim to support women's sports. And it's also a denial of reality. And I do want to say that I love Riley's shirt today. XX, XY, are we denying biology or what? This is why the first bill I introduced in Congress is called the Safety and Opportunity for Girls Act. And it says that sex in Title IX is biologic and genetic, not identity. I will not stop fighting in Congress to protect and defend our children, especially our daughters, from this radical woke agenda. Thank you, Riley and Paula, for your courage to stand up and speak out against this evil. You are an inspiration to girls, not only girls, but to the adults that have yet to stand up and speak up for our daughters and their opportunities. Thank you.
And we'll next hear from Miranda Gaines.
Hello, my name is Riley Gaines. I serve as an advisor for the Independent Women's Voice, and I am just so proud to be here with all of you, all of these amazing reps who I've gotten to know over this past year or so. Thank you for your leadership on this, and I'm thankful, especially thankful for the leadership of Senator Ernst and Congresswoman Tenney in standing up for women and filing a resolution to establish National Women's Sports Week and celebrate female athletes. and I encourage members of Congress to join and sign on in support of this resolution. IWF and IWV initiated Women's Sports Week last year to coincide with the 50th anniversary of Title IX and celebrate the incredible expansion of opportunities for female athletes since the passage of Title IX in 1972. Today, as we celebrate Women's Sports Week, I want to take my time to talk a little bit about pride. Because I'm proud. I'm proud to be a 12-time NCAA All-American and a 5-time SEC champion, and the SEC record holder in the 200 butterfly, and a 2-time Olympic 12 qualifier, and the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, SEC Community Service Leader of the Year. Those are all things I'm proud of. I'm proud to be here with IWV as a champion of women's equality. I'm proud to stand here for thousands, be a megaphone for thousands of female athletes who have reached out to me. Parents, coaches, young girls aspiring to be champions, to seniors who have witnessed the explosion of male participation in female sports, and they saw the benefits of their participation throughout the years. I'm proud to stand for all women of all backgrounds and to fight to ensure women's sports remain female. I'm standing here for the next generation of girls who are today training to compete and do not want to have to face men with an unfair biological advantage. Women and girls everywhere, I need you to hear this. Keep working. We have your back. I'm proud to be an American, which remains the best and the freest country on the planet, and I'm proud and grateful to stand with everyone on this I haven't written beautiful day, this rainy day, to champion female athletes for their resilience and hard work, honor parents and coaches who support and stand up for female athletes, and fight for the continuation of single-sex competition. And I just know this is a fight that we will win. Happy Women's Sports Week. Stand strong, speak up, and when those working to erase women attempt to silence you, speak up and speak loud. Thank you, guys.
All right. Katie, you're up.
Hello, my name is Peyton McNown. I recently graduated from Holliston Dam High School in Murphy, North Carolina, and I'm a spokeswoman for Independent Women's Forum. On September 1st, 2022, I was struck in the head by a spiked ball during a volleyball game by a biological male on the opposing team. As a result of the sheer impact of the ball, I received a concussion and a neck injury. I love sports, camaraderie, discipline, team bonding, and the confidence for the future. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, participating in softball, basketball, and volleyball. I was always very aware of the possibility of injury during competitive play, but my experience on the court that day was different. The hit was so violent that I was knocked unconscious lying in a fencing position for over 30 seconds. 10 months later, my body and mind are still recovering from the hit. I still suffer from partial paralysis on my right side, vision problems, cognitive issues, constant headaches, and more. This incident was 100% avoidable if my right to be a female athlete had not been excluded on the basis of being inclusive, to allow a biological male who self-identifies as a female to compete with women. I and all my teammates ever agreed to play against a male athlete. We were forced to by our state athletic association. If the adults in the room don't start standing up and putting an end to this senseless threat to females, there won't be women's sports. Women have a right to a fair and equal opportunity on and off the playing field. Men have no place in our single-sex spaces. That's why I'm thankful to be here today with Senator Ernst, Representative Tenney, and the other members of Congress present to declare the week of June 23rd as National Women's Sports Week. So they get it. I love being an athlete, as do the other girls I play with and those ladies with me today. I'm standing here today to represent not just myself, but to ensure all female athletes, my little sister, my cousins, my teammates, have access to fair competition. By supporting the Women's Sports Week resolution, members of the House and Senate have an opportunity to affirm that women deserve to compete on a level playing field without fear of injury. I may be one of the first to come before you with an injury, but I can assure you I will not be the last if we don't protect the female athletes. Thank you.
resolutions, co-sponsors in Congress, an independent women's voice, and independent women's forum for your leadership in establishing here Forward Women's Sports Week. What a great way to celebrate the anniversary of Title IX every year and the remarkable opportunities it has opened up for females in education, including sports. My name is Paula Scanlon, a recent graduate from the University of Pennsylvania. I had the honor and privilege to compete at the NCAA Division I level on the University of Pennsylvania women's swim team, a dream that I had from a young age to compete at the top level. I never imagined that I'd find myself in the position I am today, speaking out as one of Leah Thomas's former teammates about the need to keep sports female and standing here outside the U.S. Capitol, urging our leaders to honor and respect female athletes' equal opportunity, fairness, privacy, and safety. As we celebrate female athletes, our focus, commitment, and achievements, and recognize the outstanding parents and coaches supporting them, it's important to also shed light on administrators, universities, and athletic governing bodies that are working against women and worse, erasing us. No female should be told, like I was, that they shouldn't speak out or voice concerns when a biological male suddenly shows up in the locker room or on their team. No school should make female athletes question their own common sense and judgment, or insist that they need counseling if they find the situation of males in female-only sports and spaces uncomfortable. What message does this send to girls and women? I believe strongly in the right to free speech, unlike my alma mater. As both a Taiwanese and American citizen, I have seen firsthand how America's decisions affect those worldwide. Our elected officials have opportunities to show the rest of the world that we value common sense, integrity, and fairness. I hope more members of Congress join Senator Ernst and Representative Tenney in supporting this resolution. This one's for the girls. Thank you.
I want to thank Riley and Peyton and Paula for your courage to be here this morning. What we are doing to our women and girls is cruel. I also want to thank Compton Burgess Owens, Ralph Norman, and Mary Miller, and all the young women who are watching today. We're fighting for each and every one of you. Thank you, and God bless.